I feel like advocating for the tenants. Some days I feel like advocating for landlords. You guys make my job very difficult, you know? But I've decided to take the stance and maintain this stance to just be neutral. Because some days the landlords give more trouble than the tenants, and some days the tenants give more trouble than the landlords, or the property management companies and realtors and so forth. So I've received a number of complaints about this particular issue for months and months, and I've even seen posts online myself. And it is not only the price of rental rates, but it is people, tenants, that are renting properties and then subletting those properties, subletting bedrooms, subletting a bed in bedroom, or beds in bedrooms, or sofa beds in a living room. And so I decided today would be a good day to talk about this because I saw such ads again on the weekend. Now, first I'm going to say to you all to get yourself prepared, because NCFC, I believe that the present sitting government is called, but the entire government collectively is behind the residential tenancies amendments. And the NCFC has endeavored that when Parliament returns to the Parliament House in September, they will be bringing that piece of legislation to the floor. Listen again. The Residential Tenancies Amendment, the government has endeavored that they will be bringing that piece of legislation to the floor of the Parliament in September. Now, you guys better pay attention to this, because this is going to be, you think immigration was a game changer? This is going to be the second biggest game changer in the Cayman Islands history for the last few years, since I think 1998 or 97 that the last landlord and tenant law was in effect, or is still into effect. But it's going to be a game changer, and especially for you people who like to be subletting out once you rent from landlords and their property managers, because you're doing the wrong thing. What you are doing, sorry, I'm not accepting any co-hosts. No, thank you very much. I appreciate it, but not today. What you are doing, you persons, tenants that are renting and then subletting out, you are, number one, you're causing wear and tear on these properties, number one, right? And what you're doing is also illegal, because if you sign a contract to be a tenant of a property that you don't own, you have no legal rights to sublet out a property. You have no legal rights to add another bed in that property, or a sofa bed, and inhabit another tenant in there. So you persons that I see advertising Bedspace for $1,200, and they, respectfully, I must say this, there's a particular predominant nationality that is doing this. It is clear. Okay? It is illegal, and property owners and landlords, you have the right. I'm not giving legal advice, I'm just telling you the ins and outs and the rights and wrongs of tenancy. Property owners, put it in your contracts. Realtors, put it in the contracts. Landlords, put it in the contracts. Make a contract for your rentals, even if it's one bedroom, even if it's $500 a month. Make a contract for your rental. I am making suggestions of things, and it may backfire against me because I myself is in the market for a rental. But I have to be fair here. I can't keep bashing landlords all the time and not try to. Well, yeah, I don't bash landlords all the time, but I have to be fair and neutral, right? Landlords, I know the realtors make contracts, but if you're a landlord trying to rent on your own, make a contract. Just type it up. Go to the library if you don't have a computer at home. Most phones nowadays have Microsoft free. I don't need to view the contents right now. Do a little one-page contract and say in that contract what you expect from that person that's going to rent your place and how much the rent is going to be and by what terms it's going to be paid and so forth. Generally, if rent is paid by the week, you would give a week's notice. A month, you give a month's notice, and so forth and whatnot. But you especially need to put in there, and you see that's why the realtors have taken this position that they're asking. I advocated for landlords to try to get property management companies and realtors to manage their places and start vetting tenants, because some of you tenants are absolutely unbelievable, really and truly. And so now I'm going to advocate for contracts, because you're taking things out of hand when you're subletting these properties. You rent a property with 2 rooms, and realistically, the law is going to come. Realistically, it is expected that there's 2 adults per bedroom in a 2-bedroom apartment and 2 children. That's it. And not someone putting extra beds, bunk beds, twin beds into the bedroom, removing a queen bed or a full bed or a king bed and putting 2 or 3 sets of bunk beds. And they are even crafting, building bunk beds and putting in these apartments. Let me tell you what landlords need to start doing is renting places unfurnished. Yes. Then let's see what you guys are going to do. You're going to have to pay out of your own pockets to furnish these places that you're renting, and then you won't think about subletting out beds for $1,200. While the landlord has rented you the place for $2,000, you're subletting 2-3 beds in 1 bedroom, and you're making 4 times the amount over than what the landlord is gaining from that property, and then you're wearing and tearing on the contents of the apartment. In the United States, for the most part, at every state that I've lived in, Florida, a few places, Georgia and North Carolina, a few places, everywhere is unfurnished. You have to buy your own furniture. The only thing you don't carry with you is a fridge and a stove. Generally, washer and dryer may come with some places, maybe microwaves too. Everything else, the tenant has to find their own stuff. And you see tenants these days are trying to be really kind and providing even the kitchen utensils, dishware, silverware, pots, pans, and that sort of thing. And that's being overly nice. But it is generous considering the cost of rental these days. But if you people are going to take advantage of it, you may change the scope of how rentals are being done in the Cayman Islands, because people work hard to obtain these rentals. Some people are building onto their present existing homes and having strangers come onto their personal properties. A lot of that is happening nowadays. It meets the demand for the rental market, but it also allows homeowners to be able to make that extra income, and some of you are taking advantage of it. I know people who have gone to school and have properties here, people who have moved away and have properties here, and you people are taking advantage of it. Landlords and property owners, I know the real estate companies know this, property owners know this. You have the right to notify the tenant that you'll be entering on a monthly basis to inspect the property and see what they're up to. You have that right. And I would advise you to do the same, because it is wear and tear on your property. When the new Residential Tenancies Act, I don't know if they're going to rename it, but that's an appropriate name right there, because it is definitely showing that it's not for or against any particular side, but it's going to have a grievance board. I'm expecting that that's what's going to happen, because that was a part of what I saw as the original draft. Well, it wasn't a draft. That was actually the law that had been passed, but wasn't put in force. So it's been sitting around, and I've said this before, it was sitting around for about, call it 15 years now. The last administration, under now MP Panton, they did some amendments, and I've been looking into it, and it's passed on to this new administration, and they're now going to modernize it and bring it forward. I don't know when or if it will pass this year, but we're hoping that it is. It is not going to be a legislation that many are going to be happy about, but it is also a legislation that the government, I will like to believe, are going to ensure that they try to get it as right as possible, because rent has a broad spectrum to consider, just as immigration does. They're not the same laws, but they have a lot to consider. And it is high time, because we are breaching people's human rights by not having a modernized landlord and tenant laws. The government knows that, I believe, or they should. The people know that. Lawyers know that. And so I hope that they jump on board with this very, very soon. What I will say again to you tenants, property owners, if they have mortgages, have to provide insurance for their property, right? Who pays for that insurance? Not you out of your pocket, but you're wearing and tearing their property. In the States, oh my Lord, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it. In the States, if I rent an apartment, my kids are in the States renting apartments, and I had to find property insurance for them that they pay every month to cover the property. Here in Cayman, property owners and landlords absorb that cost. And what do you people do? Take it for granted in talking about, and I'm talking Caymanian now, you people take it for granted in talking about you are renting bed space for $1,200. Bed space. It is unsanitary, actually, to be renting bed space. And landlords, you need to check it out. You need to be on top of this. It wouldn't surprise me if people start renting places unfurnished, because you know why? It is taxing to landlords and property managers and realtors who manage these properties, having so many people. That's why there's a question today. You didn't see this question 2 years ago. How many people are going to be staying in the apartments? And it's because of you people that are talking about you're renting bed space. And you're renting a living room couch for $1,200, so you can pocket some of the money and the landlord can be on the losing end of the stick. We're going to see more furniture businesses coming into play. More than CJ Furniture and Tomlinson's Furniture, and there's a few other little small ones. A.L. Thompson's going to start carrying furniture. Kirk's is going to start carrying furniture. Larry's, Uncle Bill's. Uncle Bill's has some furniture down there too. Because you people are going to have to start buying your own mattresses, your own beds, your own furniture, because you are taxing properties and wearing and tearing people's properties. And you're making it difficult. And every time you do that by overburdening the property, it's the responsibility of the landlord to spend money. And this is another reason why rents are raising. This is another reason why some of you who are DFA tenants too, which are Caymanians, are not able to rent either, because you're taxing people's properties by not taking care of it, by having too many people in the unit, by not taking responsibility for the behavior and conduct of your children, by you know what you do. So overall, I just want to say, be responsible and do the right thing when you're renting, because that is why so many people are finding it hard to rent these days. You know why I'm finding it hard to rent, to find a place? Because most of the places that I see for rent are not in good condition for the prices that they're asking. Because they're just these little small apartments, makeshift studios, and you know, I forgot the word I'm looking for now. I'm so by some of you people, but some of these apartments and places, they're just kind of thrown together. They're not worth $1,800, $1,900. But for landowners and property owners to do something reasonable and affordable and in better condition, it has to come out of their own pockets, deep, deep, deep. And it's because of some of you who rent and overburden the properties. So I want to implore you, stop it. If anyone sees a property online that is renting bed space, I'm sorry, it gives people a place to live and sleep. But I've heard complaints from people who say, I rent a bed space and I can't sleep at night. I rent a bed space and certain activities are going on in the room that is so uncomfortable for me. I rent a bed space and there's so many different companies. I don't want to say because some people may know who I'm talking and that sort of thing, but it's unacceptable. You must have your own private room, and if you're sharing with someone, it must be your partner or someone that you have agreed to share with, not because you've agreed to rent a bed in a space and someone else decides they're going to bring someone else in there. You know how many unpleasant things could happen in those types of situations? Dare not I tell you. Imagine how many unpleasant things could happen in those situations. So I'm just going to leave that with you. I'm not going to repeat myself, but I'm going to tell you, you know who you are that are advertising bed spaces and couches in the living room for rent so people can just have somewhere to sleep. Yes, there's a shortage in rentals in the Cayman Islands, but it's not that bad. And if anyone sees anything, send it to me or report it to the platform that you see it on or the group that you see it on. And if you know the landlord, that's even better. Report it or to the real estate company. Because I know no realtors are renting bed spaces. They don't have that permission. No property owners are renting bed spaces that I've seen. So I am going to leave that. Let me see the comments here if I need to. Sorry, I can't allow anyone to co-host. Oh boy, you guys are funny. Let's see. Okay, you're just joining. Oh my gosh. Many of you want to be guests, but I can't deal with that. I got two other posts I want to talk about. Keep it up. Okay. I think I've said enough with this. You guys will get the point. I talk about landlord and tenant issues all the time. You have some landlords are really great. I can talk for mine. One Johnson, 2 Jamaican flags. That is great. It's always good to know the positive feedback that is shared. Did something change legislation-wise? Samuel 3935. I don't know if you've just joined, but it hasn't quite changed legislation-wise yet, but the government is intending. They did say that they're intending. I'm not saying it. They said it in Parliament that they're going to be bringing something to the House in September when they resume. Just to repeat that for you. So there has been some amendments to a legislation that was passed in 2009 and was what I like to say put on the shelf, and that is called the Residential Tenancies Act. But hi, Miss Brian, is the immigration law in effect for employees that haven't been with their employer 2 years? Yes, sweetheart, that law came into effect May 1st. Yep. Okay, let me make sure. This wasn't supposed to be an immigration discussion, but the effing rent is too much. They need to address that. Sweetheart, if you listen to this post, I'll tell you some of the reasons why the effing rent is too much. I'm going to post this so you can listen to it. The rent is high and the beds are not good. Let me tell you something. Since I was living in the States, I have about 3 different types of coverings for the bed that I live on in the apartment, and I was told this mattress was relatively new because I never again will feel comfortable sleeping on a used bed or a used sofa. It has to be cleaned because it is very unsanitary, and I did not realize this until I moved to the U.S. for school. And there's a big business over there with cleaning mattresses and recycling certain mattresses. They're called refreshed mattresses, and cleaning, upholstery cleaning. because it's very unsanitary living with used sofas and used mattresses. All kinds of stuff happen on these pieces of furniture. Your body sheds cells. You relieve yourself. You sweat. You know, all kinds of stuff happen on these pieces of furniture, and it's very unsanitary. And a lot of this furniture is not clean by the time a new tenant moves in. The pillows should be replaced every time a tenant moves in. I always buy new pillows for my apartments. Every time I move, I do not carry the same pillows. A broom, never carry the same broom to another apartment. These are all unsanitary things, brooms and mops. Yep. I think that is it. Guys, thank you for joining me. I'm sorry this is not an immigration. Oh, I didn't mean to send an invite to anyone. I'm sorry about that. Thank you for joining me again. It was good for you to tune in. Sorry this is not immigration, but talk to you soon.